Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker were in London last night for the premiere of their new romantic comedy. Gillian Kelly went to Leicester Square. Her film contains flash photography.
Jessica Parker, it's all about clothes, but rumours of a red carpet wardrobe malfunction have been denied. In her new film with Hugh Grant, Did You Hear About the Morgans?, SJP looks very different. The stars play married city high flyers who moved to Wyoming after witnessing a murder.
Very, very quiet, isn't it? I thought I could actually hear my cells dividing.
I know, I kept praying for a siren.
SJP had to swap her trademark stilettos for cowgirl boots.
Thermals and buffalo plaid are appropriate for riding horses and milking cows, and I enjoyed it. I want to do things that are different.
Well, there's clearly no country casual chic on this red carpet. Sarah Jessica Parker is a girl who likes her New York City armour, a designer dress and sky-high heels. It's Hugh Grant's first film in 2 years, so Sarah Jessica had to look after him on set.
She was very kind to me, very nurturing. She used to do my manicure. She was disgusted at my English nails and used to come and file them for me.
And Elizabeth Hurley told fans she was there to support her ex-boyfriend Hugh.
Time now, 6:06. Back to Emma and Kate.
I had a long chat with her yesterday, actually.
Yes.
We're going to see the interview later on, just before Christmas. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
She was
lovely
so
lady.
lovely.
And was she glamorous? Was she dressed
really
nicely?
glamorous? Although, there were, because of confusion, not her fault. She was a bit late and she caught me just breastfeeding when she came in. I was like, hello.
She's got 2 little ones herself now, hasn't she?
She was great about it.
Yeah.
She was brilliant. She talked about that a lot. So, yeah, you can see that all just before Christmas.
Look forward to watching that.
Yes.
It is at 6:06. Let's find out what's happening on the weather front. Here's Kirsty. Good morning. Good news on the weather front because things are settling down, really. Today, many of us seeing a dry day with some sunny spells and a little bit on the mild side still. Grey and misty, though, across central and eastern England. Hopefully, things will improve here later on through the day. Sunshine developing. Frequent showers out to the west, especially the northwest. Some of these could be a little bit heavy and thundery. So the focus for the showers, northern and western parts of the UK. Elsewhere, doing well for brighter skies and top temperatures today around 13 Celsius, 55 Fahrenheit. A little bit colder and wetter tonight, and then colder and drier for the next few days. Over to you two.
Thank you. Can I just point out when I said that, because the crew have gone a bit mad, I was breastfeeding my baby.
Yes, who else?
They were going, what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. There was a... I wasn't
Sarah
just
Jessica
sitting
Parker.
there flashing for the sake of it. There was a reason behind it all. I just want to explain that.
There always is a reason with you, isn't there?
There's always a reason. There's always an excuse. There's always an excuse. Should we have a look at the papers?
Yeah, let's start with the papers. The pre-budget report, as you can imagine, dominating the broadsheets. The Times this morning says markets tell Chancellor time to end the spending. The Independent warns of an excess of bankers, apparently. There's a picture there of Bob Diamond. He's the president of Barclays. Barclays boss warning governments against a super tax on bonuses, which we expect to happen today. And The Guardian also goes a similar line. Labour's newest front in battle with the City. Also, a lovely picture there of Audrey Hepburn. Apparently that picture fetched £268,000 at London auction yesterday. And very, very quickly, onto the Day Telegraph. It seems they're already rowing in Copenhagen regarding the climate change plans. A big row broke out last night between developing countries and richer nations. There you go.
And looking at the tabloids, well, it's the extraordinary events surrounding Tiger Woods at the moment that make most of the front pages, actually. We're going to be talking about that with Carla a little bit later on, all the latest ramifications. Tiger in new 999 drama. This is his mother-in-law who collapsed and had to be rushed to hospital yesterday. The Sun, he ain't out of the woods yet. They're also talking about his mother-in-law and saying that it may affect some of his sponsorship, which, of course, is very lucrative for him. Daily Express have that story there as well. And also talking about Phil Wallace, who was on the programme yesterday, and some are outraged at the fact that he was saying that those involved in the border management were putting their lives on the line for country. They're suggesting that he was insulting civil servants in some way. He obviously says that's not true. Daily Mail, Britain's sick man of Europe. This refers to a survey published yesterday by the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, which says that Britain is round about the Czech Republic and Poland in terms of the league tables on health. And I'm going to turn over to the back page, Emma.
We
don't do this very often, do we?
The best of luck.
I know, thank you. I am John Stapleton today. I live on as the Man City fan on the sofa. Just fab, this is Michael Owen. There he is on the back page. That's what we're going to talk about now, because Michael Owen's returned to form. The talk of the back pages this morning after an incredible hat-trick against Wolfsburg, who were knocked out of the Champions League despite United's depleted side. The Mirror's Oliver Holt watched the action. Good to see you.
Good to see you. You've moved seamlessly from breastfeeding to Manchester United.
Brilliant. Just as John would have done.
Absolutely.
Just as John would have done as well. I'm sort of like trying to emulate him this morning. Brilliant. OK. So, Michael Owen, it was his night, wasn't it?
It was his night. And a hat-trick in Germany, which he famously got for England a while ago when England beat Germany 5-1. and he was terrific. United had a very depleted side. They went 1-1 against the German champions here, but then Michael Owen got his second, and this one a terrific third. So every time Michael Owen plays and scores like this, it awakens the debate about whether he should be back in Fabio Capello's England squad for the World Cup. And
do you think he should?
I think he should, yeah, because there's not many. It's Champions League, it's a big stage. OK, it wasn't that important a game last night, but there are not many players of his quality. We haven't got that many strikers of his quality, and I think when he shows, as he does last night, how he can score, he needs more games, but if he keeps scoring, he's going to get more games, and then he's going to get back in the squad. OK, now, Chelsea, already qualified, won in their group, rested several first-team regulars for their home game against, wish me luck, Apoel Nicosia. Yeah, well done. Is that right? Yeah. Good, excellent. 2-2 draw, though. Hopefully an end to the problems? Yeah, I mean, it didn't, again, not massively important. They've done all the hard work already in terms of the qualification. It's a slight concern because they're coming off the back of a bad result at the weekend, but it doesn't really matter. They're in a bit of a blip at the moment. They're playing Everton at home on Saturday. That will be a big game for them because they need to get back on track quickly. But last night, 2-2's OK. They're through. They're top of the group. They're fine. OK, now in the FA Cup, end of the road for non-league Kettering. Yeah. Soundly beaten by Leeds United. Yeah, hammered really in a way, although apparently the 5-1 they were beaten, but doesn't quite do justice to them. But I guess that was expected. I mean, Leeds having a terrific season in the context of their sort of fall from grace. They look like they're going to get back in the Championship at least, so it was expected, I guess. Shame for Kettering. But and now they've got a tie with Manchester United. Leeds United have. They have. Good. Well, yeah, I mean, that used to be the great sort of hate-fuelled fixture of the 70s and 80s. As I say, Leeds have very much fallen from grace now. It should be an easy match for Manchester United, even in the current context of so many injuries. But I mean, it will be a return to glory for Leeds fans. They'll be right up for that. It'll be a fascinating fixture, actually. OK, brilliant. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
I can tell you spent last night watching the footy.
I did, yeah. Well, we're trying to work out how you became John Stapleton. We decided it was you danced badly and scared runners. And I thought, I can do that. I can do that all the way through. John's not going to get back on now. He's never going to get back. Worried no, he's in trouble. We're going to leave him up in Rochdale, aren't we? In the meantime, it's 6:13. Let's get up to date with the news headlines you're waking up to this morning. The Chancellor, Alistair Darling, will unveil his pre-budget report today to bring Britain's finances back into order. It's expected to include a one-off tax on bankers' bonuses. Now, a new Ofsted report rates children's services in 9 local authority areas as poor. They include Haringey, where baby Peter was killed. And the weather for you, staying dry in many central and eastern parts with sunny spells developing. Showers will affect western areas, though, turning heavy in northwest, where it's also going to be breezy. Not looking good, I'm afraid, is it? The high at 13 degrees Celsius.
Let me tell you that half of the 10,000 small businesses that took part in a survey recently said they were struggling. Not so Dumpy Combustion here in Rochdale, an award-winning company that, despite a worldwide recession, has kept its head above water. Let's find out why as we talk first of all to Malcolm. You've had a tough time, but you've survived. How have you done it?
I think we've developed new products. We're constantly developing new products and continue to do so, and hopefully we'll continue to prosper. We've always recognised that the market is a global place for us. Our biggest asset with our company is our people. Yeah, you've had to lay a couple of them off, nevertheless. We have, because unfortunately we ceased our manual machines, but that's very unfortunate. But I think at the end of the day, we've invested heavily in new plant, new equipment, and of course new products. And what's on your wish list today from the Chancellor then? My wish list with the Chancellor, hopefully, would that we have 100% capital allowance on plants and equipment, 100% capital allowance on new buildings. I think to actually give tax relief, you actually have to make a profit to do that. Companies really need to invest heavily in training the personnel, plant and equipment. I mean, we have a global market, and unfortunately, successive governments really have let manufacturing and ignored manufacturing completely in this country. You feel neglected? OK, let's just move on to Bolton up the road there, because Elaine Wilcox has been to a company there that's struggling a bit, to put it mildly. Here's her report.
Weldon Engineering has been in business for 36 years. It employs 60 people, has invested in high-tech equipment and made efficiencies, but says this year has been the toughest yet.
I finished up putting a couple of £100 of my own money back in this year to shore things up. And the worry is if the banks lose confidence.
The latest figures nationwide showed output stagnating in October, casting further doubts over the strength of the recovery. Adding to the nervousness in manufacturing industries like this, the CBI has warned the Chancellor tax rises and spending cuts will do little to help here.
Because obviously everything's being shipped abroad and it's leaving us with no work at all.
It's worrying, wife and 2 kids, homeowner. Just hope we can get through it.
Here they're still clinging on to a 5-day week, but these workers know they're lucky to still be in a job this Christmas.
Elaine Wilcox reporting there. Let's talk now to Adam Buckley from the Manufacturing Institute. What's your perception of the way in which the government thus far has treated companies like Malcolm's and others up and down the country?
Well, first of all, I'd like just to dispel a few myths about manufacturing. UK is still the 6th largest manufacturing nation in the world, employing 3 million people. That's 1 in 9 of the workforce, contributing 150 billion to the UK economy. That's 1/7 of our national wealth, and currently accounts for over half our exports.
And do you think the government recognise that? Has it treated accordingly?
It's interesting. Lord Mandelson has very recently commented that manufacturing is the rockbed of our economy, and it's a platform in which we'll build our economic recovery. So today I'd like to see him support those words.
Well, he's going to be on our programme a little bit later on. So what's your wish list for Lord Mandelson this morning?
I think the biggest issue that we're seeing is actually access to finance. Even though the banks say they're open, I think they're open for those that can provide security. And unfortunately, those with the security and cash are actually paying down debt rather than borrowing at the moment.
So more pressure on the banks?
Certainly from my perspective, yes, for small businesses.
Are you encouraged at all that we're hoping, or anticipating anyway, that the Chancellor will announce that he's going to suspend the tax he intended to impose on small firms like Malcolm's?
Definitely. One of my worries was that the tax increases, the reduction in stimuli and reduction in public spending next year would actually provide a double dip, if you like, in the economic recovery.
So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you both very much indeed. All the very best to you. Award-winning company here in Rochdale. Long may it be so. Back now to Emma.
OK, John, for now, thanks very much. Now, it's day 2 of our Come Home for Christmas campaign, where you can help those whose lives have been turned upside down by a loved one's disappearance. People such as Alex King, whose dad, Mark, went missing 14 years ago.
I was 2.5 when my dad went missing. I remember silly little things of my dad, like him standing in the doorway talking to my mum or watching TV at his house. He and my mum were going through a divorce at the time, and he had always wanted to go mountaineering, so he took the time to save up some money, and then he went to Switzerland, and yeah, he just didn't come back. A ticket was used to come back to England, but there was no sign of him. It's weird when I was little, going to my friends' houses where there was dads there and, you know, seeing this father figure, but I always kind of thought of him as being dead. But it was hard not having a grave to go to or something like that, somewhere that you can actually think about him and, you know, talk to him. You don't know anything that's happened, and that's probably the hardest thing. All you want at the end of the day is closure, to know what's happened.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Alex joins us now along with her grandmother, Carol. Good to see you both. Thanks so much for coming in and sharing your story with us. And Alex, you're 16 now, very gorgeous 16-year-old, but you were just 2, weren't you, when your dad, Mark, disappeared? Do you have any memories of him?
Yeah, just small little ones, like maybe going to Safeways at the time, going to Safeways, choosing pizza or something like that, just silly little things.
So you remember this kind of father figure. What was it like growing up without him?
It was it was quite strange seeing my friends with, like, you know, their mum and their dad. But to be honest, I didn't really know any different. And my grandparents played a big role in my life.
I know you were very close, aren't you? Very close to your grandma.
Yes.
I know your grandfather as well has played a huge part in your life as well. At what point then did you decide, I really want to find out what happened to my dad, and I want to see if he's out there, and I want to see if I can find him?
When I was probably turning about 14, I started to think what actually has happened to him. That's probably the age where you start to wonder, and that's probably when I first got in contact with missing people.
So what's happened so far?
They've put, they've put posters up around Birmingham.
Yeah, we saw that in the. There you go. We saw that in the report. Then, okay.
And now this Christmas appeal.
And anyone who's watching, or maybe even if your dad's watching, what would you like to say to them?
I'd just like to know what happened, really. I just need closure on the whole thing.
Is that the hardest thing? Because people who are watching, I think that must be the most difficult thing for families who don't know what's happened to a loved one. You just don't know what happened to your dad.
Definitely, that's probably the most frustrating thing as well. Like not knowing at the end of the day what actually happened and whether he's alive or whether he's dead. That's probably the biggest thing, yeah.
And Carol, as a family, because you'll have better memories, won't you, of what it was like? It must have been a very difficult time then, was it?
It was very, very difficult because he went on this mountain trip in Switzerland. In fact, I can remember the week he disappeared, and Alex was a little 2-year-old because he was very close to her. And as he went, he was saying, "Daddy's going to the Alps," and she used to repeat it to him. And she was just devastated when her daddy didn't come home.
You know, he's missed out on so much as well, because she's such a beautiful 16-year-old as well. I've got lots of memories.
Yes, well, I must say, we love to know what's happened to Mark, we really would. And if he is listening to this, he'd be welcomed back with open arms.
Of course.
He really would. We'd love to see him again. We miss him, we have dreams about him. We would like to see him again. His friends would. His friends Duncan and Matthew. They would love to have a pint with you again, Mark, if you're listening to this. So please keep in touch. Get in touch.
OK, now you're coming back, aren't you, in the next hour? I'm going to chat to you again after 7 o'clock, so we'll have more conversations about that and what people who are at home can do. But for now, thank you so much for coming in. It's really nice to hear your story. Alex and Carol chatting then. And if you also are watching this and you'd like to help people like Alex through the charity Missing People, you can donate your old mobile phone for recycling by sending us your phone free post, or by taking your phone to one of our drop-off points at the Mall shopping centres. Now, all those details are on our website at gm.tv.
Well, still to come on GMTV, a row between GPs and the government has left the swine flu vaccination programme for under-5s in disarray, and parents really not knowing what to do. Talking to the GPs at 5 to 7.
And after the break, live to LA, where Tiger Woods has become embroiled in yet more drama.
You're not the 11th man I've slept with. Now is not the time to go all Carol Vorderman, you freak. When you meet the right man, you just know. The only man I sleep with from now on is the one I am rock solid certain is Mr. Right. My Mr. 11.
Brand new drama, Mr. 11, starts Friday at 9 on ITV1.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
And the British Comedy Award goes to the best performance of the night.
It was incredible.
The big weekend.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Richard.
The digital switchover is happening now in the UK.
What do we need to do?
Inform everyone that they need cable, a satellite, broadband, or their existing aerial with a digital receiver to get it.
What happens if they don't?
This cannot happen. They will lose out on TV completely, so get to work. We don't have long.
Can you repeat that, Richard?
We don't have time, girls. Tell them to log on to gm.tv for more information.
Now, just when you might have thought it was safe to venture out, there's more trouble brewing for golfer Tiger Woods. Let's get the latest from Carla Romano in Los Angeles. Dear, oh dear, you can't help but think, what next, can you, Carla?
You know what? If you remember when this story broke, I told you that I had a sneaking suspicion that we were seeing just the tip of the iceberg, and boy, oh boy, was I right. Even I'm shocked. My sources have been filling me in since then, and apparently the number of women could be at 12 now, and possibly rising. It's unbelievable, the pickle that Tiger Woods has got himself in. Another big drama today, his wife Ellen's parents came over from Sweden, obviously, to show moral support, and her mum ended up being rushed to the hospital because she collapsed. Who knows whether that was through stress or not. But nobody really knows where Tiger is at this juncture. We know they have 2 homes within the same gated community, and we know, I've heard about 10 minutes ago actually that both of those homes are now being used. There's cars going in and out of both of them, so maybe Tiger is in the other one. And I also heard about 10 minutes ago that Ellen, the wife, went to Sweden in September and bought a house there under solely her name. So, and the sources also told me that the friends of hers that they spoke to told them that she seemed very preoccupied, like she had the weight of the world on her shoulders, and it was very strange that this wasn't a joint venture between her and Tiger. So maybe she knew all about all of this before the rest of the world did.
Good grief. It's extraordinary, the idea of having a home to stomp off to after a row. I don't even have a spare room to walk off into. It's an amazing idea, isn't it? But I suppose it is still sad. There's still a marriage involved, and that's got to be bad. And also the sponsorship. I mean, he's got so much is based on his reputation, I guess, and his image, isn't it?
Well, of course, his image is Mr. Clean-cut family man, and today we find out that Gatorade have dropped the Tiger drink. They said that they decided to drop it a month ago, that this isn't because of the scandal that's brewing now, but, you know, very interestingly, they didn't announce this a month ago. They announced it today, and they said it had nothing to do with what's going on, but you can extrapolate from that what you want. The other big sponsors like Nike seem to be sticking with them just now, but of course, the big question is for how long. I definitely think that at the very beginning there was quite a lot of sympathy amongst the golfing community, and I definitely think that that is waning now.
He's got a bob or two stashed away, though, I'm guessing, hasn't he? I mean, there's reports of $600 million.
Well, he is the first billion-dollar golfer, but you know what, Kate? Divorce is very expensive, particularly here in California. So if Ellen does decide to go down that route, it's going to cost him a pretty penny. But also, now you have to understand, a lot of that money is actually from sponsorship. Now, the PGA is in about 6 weeks. Who knows if any sponsors will drop him before then? Whether he'll get new sponsorships, that's really, really doubtful. But you know what? This is my theory to the whole thing. I doubt he's going to play golf in the next 6 weeks. I think he could be like, I'm going to go into sex rehab, I'm going to get my life together, I'm going to come out the other end, people are going to love me, I'm going to do lots of charity work, because there's one thing I've learned about being here: America loves a comeback kid. So Tiger Woods might come back.
OK, well, we've got that on tape now, so over the next 6 weeks we'll review it. Thanks, Carla. Good to speak to you this morning.
Let's get a weather update for you now at 6:27. Here's Kirsty.
GMTV weather, sponsored by Nestlé Cereals. Proudly waving the banner for whole grain.
Hello there. For most of us today, it's fairly promising. Most places will be dry, and it's mild as well. Enjoy any warmth today because it's getting colder over the next few days. Now, we do have some showers around this morning, mainly across northern and western parts of Scotland. So a few hefty showers piling in towards western Scotland, more of a breeze here. Similarly, western parts of Northern Ireland will catch a few showers. But as you head further east, generally speaking, some sunshine, so some sunny spells, although a little bit chilly first thing towards Aberdeenshire, for example. Now, across northeast England, all the way down towards central and southern parts, we are going to see some mist and fog. So a little bit grey this morning. Certainly some hill fog, some mist, especially through the Vale of York, for example. Maybe also the Welsh Marches, Lincolnshire. That's the areas where it really could be a little bit dense, but it should lift away. And out to the west, we've got maybe a few light showers, fairly scattered. So I think most places across Wales and southwest England should see some spells of sunshine. So showers will continue this afternoon to feed into the north and west, for example, reaching in towards parts of Cumbria, for example, the Northern Isles, maybe also a few spots of rain just towards the Channel Islands. But the focus today is on drier conditions, some brighter skies around. That low morning mist and cloud will tend to lift away, although it could cling for time towards Lincolnshire and East Anglia. Now, the temperatures today around, say, 9 in Glasgow, up to 13 in London, 55 Fahrenheit. It will get much colder, though, as we head through the next few days. And the change comes as we see a little band of rain working its way across tonight. It's mainly focused across southern parts. Further north, just the odd shower dotted around, so slightly colder in the north tonight. Further south, I think it stays mild because of the rain. And then all clears to leave tomorrow a dry day for most with some sunshine. A little bit more cloud in the west, the odd shower in the far north of Scotland, but generally speaking a dry day tomorrow, and the temperature's just down a couple of degrees, 7 to 11 Celsius. Now that's still above the average. It won't be that by the time we get towards the weekend, because temperatures are set to take a tumble. So by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, we are looking at just 6s and 7s at best, but it's mostly dry with some bright or sunny spells. Just watch out for the overnight frost and of course some fog as well. Here's the summary.
For your local 5-day weather update, visit our website, gm.tv.
Good morning to you. It's Wednesday, the 9th of December, and John is live in Rochdale this morning talking to the people at the sharp end of the recession as Chancellor Alistair Darling prepares to explain in his pre-budget report how he's going to plug the massive hole in the nation's finances. We're going up to John Stapleton a bit later on.
Yep. Also coming up on the show, flu jabs are in disarray. A row between GPs and the government leaves parents unsure about where to get the swine flu vaccine for under 5-year-olds. We'll have more on that for you at 5 to 7.
And as Children's Services at 9, local authorities are found to be inadequate. We are social workers, just what's going wrong?
All that to come. First, let's get back to John now, who's live in Rochdale this morning.
Hello there, John. Can
Hi,
you hear
John.
us?
Hello, good morning. I'm at Dumpy Combustion, an award-winning company up in Rochdale that's managed to survive the recession with 1 or 2 job losses, but that's all. And like companies up and down the country, all over the UK today, they'll be hanging on every word the Chancellor has to say in his pre-budget report, a report that will impact on the lives of millions of people all over the country. First, the good news. We understand the Chancellor will tell us that he's going to ring-fence any cuts on the police, on hospitals and on schools. He'll also defer a proposed tax on small firms like this, and there'll be help for the young unemployed. But, and it's a very big but indeed, there'll be massive spending cuts elsewhere. Also, a streamlining of government departments, and that could only mean one thing: job cuts, and big job cuts as well, in a nation that already has 2.5 million people on the dole. There'll be tax increases also for some of the better off. More details about those in just a moment, and what might be described as a sort of crowd-pleasing initiative on bankers' bonuses. Let's just talk to Malcolm Dunphy briefly. He's alongside me. He's the boss of this company here. I mean, you've been telling me this morning what you want the government to do. What are you yourself prepared to do? Are you, as a boss, prepared to share the increased tax burden?
Well, I think we all expect that we're having to pay more tax. We're actually paying for the bank's mistakes. It's rather ironic that if a bank has a bad debt, it's a toxic debt. The industry needs a little bit of help. We're a lame duck. Really, we've got to invest in our manufacturing future.
And do you think the government pays you enough heed, enough attention? Are you satisfied with Lord Mandelson, for example, as Business Secretary?
I think, unfortunately, he's probably got a rather large remit. What we need is a dedicated manufacturing minister. We need a minister for manufacturing and engineering, a person that's actually been on the factory floor, not a consultant that's been out of work or unemployable. We need somebody who's actually been in real-life manufacturing.
Leave it there for a moment, Malcolm. Thanks very much indeed. Let's find out more detail of what the Chancellor proposes now, and indeed the political ramifications with Gloria Pirro, who's in Westminster.
Good morning. Yes, the key message from the government today will be halving the deficit while protecting frontline services. Now, protecting frontline services means that there's going to have to be big spending cuts in other departments. The government says that they can get that mostly from efficiency savings, but that's not going to plug this massive national debt that we have. So will the rich be paying more today? Well, sources suggest to me that when it comes to paying back the debt, those with the broadest shoulders will pay most of the burden. Let's take a look at some of what we know already.
There will be cuts in the public sector, although the government will be keen to stress that more cash will go to frontline services like hospitals, police and schools. Sensing public anger, the Chancellor is likely to announce a one-off tax on bankers' bonuses. We already know that VAT is due to go back up to 17.5% in January. That would go some way to filling the deficit gap. The Chancellor may take the opportunity to raise national insurance or income tax for the rich. And there'll be measures aimed at young people out of work, guaranteeing them a job or training after 6 months of unemployment rather than the 12 months as originally planned.
The the Tories will accuse Labour of being irresponsible, not getting that debt down quickly enough. Labour will say Tory plans to get the debt down will harm the economy and ordinary people. Arguments that will run right up until the general election day. Today, not just an economic event, a very political one too.
OK, Gloria, for now, thank you very much. Let's get the rest of the day's news for you now. Here's Helen.
Thanks very much, Emma. Good morning. An Ofsted report out today has singled out 9 councils across the country which are providing poor services for vulnerable children. Aisling McVeigh reports.
The abuse and death of baby Peter shocked the nation, and promises were made by those responsible at Haringey Council that things would improve. But today it's one of 9 councils singled out by Ofsted as providing poor children's services. That's a rise from 8 last year. All have already received government intervention. Haringey Council told GMTV they're working very hard to address the fundamental problems and that major changes have already been made. And from today, a new independent website called One Place will allow people to check how their council is rated for services such as education, policing and social care.
Plans to give the swine flu vaccine to children under 5 have been thrown into chaos because GPs have pulled out of the scheme. The government and the British Medical Association can't agree on how much doctors should be paid for the extra work. Now health visitors and district nurses will be asked to do the job. Michael Owen has put himself back in contention for a World Cup place. He scored a hat-trick for Manchester United last night in the Champions League against Wolfsburg, securing a 3-1 victory.
And this time he's got
there it is, that third goal. And on the website for you this morning, as cosmetic surgery gets even more popular, tell us your thoughts on going under the knife in our online survey. Watch exclusive clips of GMTV presenters cooking up a storm in our Christmas kitchen. And find out why shopping for the Christmas dinner will leave half of us stressed out. All that and more at gm.tv. Actress Sarah Jessica Parker and Hugh Grant were in London last night for the premiere of romantic comedy Did You Hear About the Morgans? Hugh's ex-girlfriend Liz Hurley joined them on the red carpet.
I kept praying for a siren.
Time now, 25 to 7. Here's what's happening where you are.
Thanks, Helen. Good morning. The top stories here in the northwest today. Police are carrying out raids in Greater Manchester this morning as part of a Christmas crime crackdown. Detectives involved in Operation Admiral have released CCTV footage of an armed robbery at a supermarket. Police say there's an increase in this type of crime around Christmas.
Scared, absolutely scared, terrified. And I was terrified for Craig as well because we didn't know what he was going to do behind the till. But I was really scared for everything. I thought this could have been the end.
3 schools will remain closed today after a gas explosion in Manchester. The local area was evacuated after 2 blasts at the site of Withington Hospital. A 300-metre cordon was set up and 1 man was taken to hospital with burns. A woman from Lancashire who spent almost 24 hours trapped in her overturned car will today meet the police helicopter team that saved her life. Hairdresser Kerry-Ann Timberlake from Leyland had an accident on the M6 in September. Her car veered off the road and she was trapped upside down in a ditch until a police helicopter found her a day later. Sport now, and Barrow have set up a dream third-round FA Cup tie against Premier League Sunderland after beating Oxford. The Cumbrian side were comfortable winners in the second-round replay as they beat their non-league rivals. Mark Goodfellow scoring Barrow's 3rd on the night. They eventually won 3-1. Elsewhere in the second-round replays, Tranmere beat Aldershot 2-1 and Accrington made it through after a 1-0 win over Barnet. In the Champions League, Michael Owen was the hat-trick hero for Manchester United as they beat German side Wolfsburg. The striker opened the scoring just before half-time. Wolfsburg equalised in the second half, but Owen soon put United back in front and then finished off his hat-trick late on. The result means United go through as group winners. Well done to them. Now let's find out what's happening with the weather. Here's Fred.
GMTV weather is brought to you by Olbus Inhaler. The power to breathe, whatever the weather.
Good morning to you. This is what you want to see in the morning, isn't it? A bit of sunshine. And that's what we've got for today. A lot of sunshine. There will be some clouds on a gentle breeze, and there will be the odd shower, but most of those showers will be on the high ground. Temperature-wise, absolutely superb. Look at this. 10s and 11s. This is what we want. Enjoy your day.
Well, that's all the news for the North West so far this morning. I'm back in about half an hour. First, though, it's back to Penny and Emma. Have a lovely morning, and it's goodbye from all of us here for now.
Welcome back. I am live on a factory floor in Rochdale on the day the Chancellor of the Exchequer announces his plans for getting us out of the economic mess we're in. We are told that he will offer some help to the young unemployed, but what about the rest? Duncan Golestani has been to meet the Jackman family in Swindon. Here's his report.
Steve Jackman ran his own business with 40 employees, but then the recession hit. Now he's on income support.
You lose your sense of worth. You spend all this time supporting your family, caring for your family, and then all of a sudden you can't do that anymore. It's taken from you at such a level that you've gone from everything you could possibly have to having absolutely nothing.
But with government grants, Steve will soon be qualifying as a personal trainer. He wants to see more money going to adult education to help people like him find new opportunities.
I could not afford to do any of the training, to do any of the courses, and them grants being there allowed me to do it. If the training is there and the funding is there for these people to do the courses and to go on and employ people that can also do these courses, then you know, we've got a good chance of turning things around.
Thanks very much indeed, Duncan Golestani, the reporter there. Well, we hope now to be able to talk to Theresa May, who's the Shadow Work and Pension Secretary. She is in our Westminster studio. Very good morning to you, Theresa May. First of all, we understand help for the young unemployed in the Chancellor's report this morning, and a deferral of the tax on small businesses like the one I'm at the moment, which I presume you welcome as good news.
Well, good morning, John. We've been calling on the government for some time now to give more help to young people who are unemployed, and particularly to give them help at an earlier stage, because certainly up till now, a young person who's unemployed has had to wait for 12 months to get any of the schemes that the government has announced to give them extra help. We think that's too long, because if you're young and you have a period of unemployment at the beginning of your time in your working life, that can really scar you for the rest of your life. So we will certainly be looking today to see the government bring forward help to the young who are unemployed and make sure that they're getting real specialist help at a much earlier stage.
Yeah, and presumably you also welcome the news that the Chancellor's going to ring-fence the police, the hospitals and the schools. They're safe from any cuts.
Well, we wait to hear exactly what details the Chancellor comes out with, John, but I think it's important when we hear what the Chancellor says that we think about the background against which these decisions are being taken. Britain has been in the longest and deepest recession on record, and we're the last of the G20 countries out of recession. And the key issue for the Chancellor is going to be dealing with the budget deficit. We've got the worst budget deficit of any developed country. If the government doesn't come forward with a credible plan for dealing with public spending and with that budget deficit, then the price everybody will pay, of course, will be higher interest rates and higher taxes, and that will be a brake on growth in the future. And what we want to see is plans to deal with the deficit and actually get that growth going.
Right, and also we're told that he's planning a one-off tax on bankers' bonuses. Now, where does the Conservative Party stand on that one?
Well, we've never ruled out a tax on bonuses. I mean, we think we need to get ways of getting the bankers lending again. There are many small businesses who want to see the banks lending again rather than paying out money in large bonuses. But the bankers' bonuses issue mustn't be a distraction from the main issue of this pre-budget report, which is how is the government going to deal with the deficit? Is it going to have a credible plan for dealing with the deficit and doing it quickly enough so that we can ensure that we're not going to see higher interest rates, higher taxes and slower growth? That's the key issue for the Chancellor.
With all due respect, Theresa, it's very easy to snipe and fire from the sidelines, but if you were in charge, if you were inheriting this mess, which is a worldwide mess, not essentially one created by the government, could you do any better?
Well, I'll come on to one or two of the things that we would do, John, but just to pick you up on that point about this being, as you say, a worldwide mess not created by the Chancellor. Of course, there has been a global recession, but the Prime Minister boasted that the UK was better placed and better prepared going into recession, yet we have been in the longest and deepest recession on record, and we're the last G20 country out of recession. And there is a need for the government to be making tough choices, and as an opposition we've already set out some of the tough decisions we would make, like a public sector pay freeze for all but the million lowest paid public sector workers, like looking at bringing forward the state pension age, the year at which people have to qualify for the state pension age, and cutting the costs of Whitehall by a third. So we've actually set out some of the things that we would do, because we think it's important as an opposition that we do show people the sort of decisions we'd be willing to take.
Got to leave it there, Theresa May. Thank you very much indeed. I hope to be talking to Lord Mandelson a little bit later in the programme. Meantime, back to you in the studio.
John, thanks very much indeed. Let's bring you up to date with the news headlines you're waking up to this morning. And as you can hear, Chancellor Alistair Darling will unveil his pre-budget report today to bring back Britain's finances back into order. It's expected to include a one-off tax on bankers' bonuses.
Also this morning, a new Ofsted report rates children's services in 9 local authority areas as poor. They include Haringey, where baby Peter was killed. More on that shortly.
And the weather staying dry in many central and eastern parts with sunny spells developing. That's the good news, though, because showers will affect western areas, turning heavy in the northwest, where it will also be breezy, the high at 13 Celsius.
Now, as we were just saying in the headlines there, the state of children's services is back under the spotlight again today, with Ofsted publishing its latest ratings. Now, these reveal that 9 local authorities are performing poorly. The figures are released on the same day as One Place is launched. That's the first ever comparison website for public services. Here's Nick Dixon.
How well are you being served by local public services? For the first time, quality of life has been graded by a website that ranks public services in England. One Place allows you to search online for the best and worst health, education, social care and police services.
And for your area, the website promises to be a completely independent view on how services are performing.
Green flags on the site show exceptional performance in some parts of the country, but others are given red flags. Places like Doncaster and Haringey have been flagged for not doing enough to keep children safe and healthy, and also ensuring they get good results in school. Both councils, though, say they're committed to making improvements.
The red flags are signals of concern where we think actually something different needs to happen here if public services are going to make the kind of local improvements that they're seeking to.
The website goes live today, so you can log on and see just how your council tax is being spent.
Well, let's chat now to Hilton Dawson from the British Association of Social Workers, who joins us from our Birmingham studio this hour. Very good morning to you, sir. So we've got 9 local authorities that have been flagged up by Ofsted as performing poorly in their provision of children's services. Of course, you remember the dreadful case, don't we, of baby Peter and also Victoria Columbier. So why do you think we're still in a situation where there are authorities that are still performing poorly in this country?
Well, we've had the Social Work Task Force report last week, really, a comprehensive report, which I think detailed the problems that have beset social work now for so many years. We don't have an effective career structure, we don't have enough social workers, we don't have enough investment in the front line of services. The Chancellor's got a chance today to do something about that, to put his money where the government's mouth has actually been.
Yeah, so those are the issues. And of course, the real concern is the children here, the children we're talking about. So how many children do you think are still not getting enough protection from social workers whilst these issues aren't being sorted out?
Every local authority in the country has problems with children's services. Let's be frank about this. This is a crisis affecting all social work services for children and actually for adults as well. We need to see the measures identified by the Social Work Task Force last week put into action. We need to see that £500 million that the Prime Minister was talking about on Monday coming from a change of priorities, coming away from the quangos and into frontline services. And we need to hear the Chancellor today talking about social work, frankly, ahead of health, police, education, all those other worthy services.
And are you saying, because it's a worrying situation you're painting here, that if you don't see these changes, we could get another baby P, another dreadful situation like that happening again?
We have very dangerous situations in every children's services in the country. There is absolutely no doubt that children are at risk, and that services urgently need, as I say, the measures identified by the Social Work Task Force already, the money that is actually there in terms of what's available to quangos at the moment, and what we need is action today from the Chancellor, backed up fully by the Prime Minister.
OK, that's what you want them to do. What about you, though? What do you think social workers can do themselves to improve the situation?
Social workers need to speak up more. Social workers need to join the British Association of Social Workers, as they're doing at a rate of 50 a week at the moment. Social workers at a local level need to raise their heads, raise their voices, not just with their immediate managers, but with their bosses, with their directors, and with their members as well. We need social workers to stand up for our profession in every way and in every part of the United Kingdom.
OK, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for your thoughts this morning.
Thank
Hilton
you.
Dawson chatting to us from the British Association of Social Workers.
Well, still to come on GMTV, Tell the Kids. We've been talking to Miley Cyrus about how she'll be spending Christmas over here.
She's in Blackpool at the moment, isn't she?
Yeah.
Bet she's liking that. Now, one lucky winner of this week's competition is going to get £25,000 in cash and a break to Berlin.
Yes, here's Trisha Penrose with the details.
Merry Christmas! How do you fancy £25,000 courtesy of the Berlin Tourist Board? Imagine how lovely it'd be having all that cash. And the winner will also receive a 3-night break to Berlin for 4 people. So to be in with a chance of winning, answer this question correctly. Traditionally, what do people do under the mistletoe? A. Kiss. B. Sing. C. Dance. To enter, call 090 49 59 6000. Calls cost £1 from BT landlines. Calls from other networks may be higher, and from mobiles considerably more. Or you can enter by text. Just text your answer A, B or C to 64499. Text costs £1 plus 1 standard network rate message, or enter online at gm.tv. All entrants must be 18 or over, and lines close at midday this Friday. Entries made after closing time won't be counted, but may still be charged. Holiday dates may be restricted. You'll find competition terms and conditions plus winner details at gm.tv/terms.